Hi my lovelies, today is the 2nd of February 2025, 8:41 in the morning. I don't know if anyone cares about that, but there is an occurrence that is occurring and I wanted to discuss it with you, and it's about the Barclays account glitches, which is still ongoing. For those of you who don't know, Barclays is a bank, a major bank here in the UK, and it has IT glitches going on that started on Friday, which for a lot of the country was their monthly payday. People have not been able to access their accounts or anything like that. It's a major issue. Now they're saying there's been no cyber attack, but they're also saying that people need to draw out cash and that their ATMs are not affected. Okay, so there's a couple of things to unpack and talk about here as well. Barclays are now telling customers to contact food banks. One of the biggest food bank collectives here in the UK, Trussell Trust, only accept 3 referrals per year for people for the food bank. Now this is a major issue because if you are someone who has need of food banks or know that they're going to need food banks later on in the year, this could be taking away from later on. The other issue from that is that you have to have a referral to go to certain food banks, and they have to come from doctors, sometimes solicitors, very rarely solicitors, but sometimes, but doctors, local ministers. So if you're not a particularly religious person, you may not have access to that, or you may be forced to go and get access, which may cause issues because they don't know who you are. Police sometimes give them, sometimes local police, if they know you and your family, but it's mostly doctors, etc., that will pass you on to food banks. They can't. Barclays are all very well saying go to the food bank, but it's not as easy to access many food banks as some think. There are privately run food banks that are a lot easier to contact and get hold of. I would suggest getting hold of your local community centre and the area coordinator. They will have a better idea of where certain food banks are run and which ones are easier to access, because Barclays themselves cannot give you a referral to the food bank. Okay, they cannot do that. But like I said, some food banks you don't need a referral to go to, you just need to ring them up and say help. There are some companies, and I will say, I use the word companies loosely, local councils, who, if you do not pay certain bills, council tax, on time, they will go through a system of some kind of shonky, what looks very much to me like a fake summons, to take you to court, which is a room hired by them either in the courthouse or in the council, to decide who's going to be sent to a bailiff, right? And this can happen in the first 2 weeks. So if you're 2 weeks late from doing that, they will start sending that. Now, we've been through that a couple of times ourselves, so we know what it's like, and it is awful. It is a horrific experience. They don't allow you in on the meetings. To me, a court summons means that you, the person, are summoned to court. But if you don't have anywhere to go because they don't give you an address and they don't give you a time or date, you can't go, so therefore it's not a summons. yeah, to me that's all wrong, but I'm not a lawyer. Anywho, so they're saying, Barclays are saying that this is likely to continue today. If it's likely to continue today, it's likely to continue during the week. It's not easy. Now, what got me and why I made this video is because of this. Barclays have also said to some people, do you not have family and friends? Can't you ask your family and friends? Well, actually, she brings up a really good point. No, not everyone has family and friends. I am non-contact with most of my family. I have personally gone no contact with most of my family because it's an incredibly toxic environment that I want nothing to do with. Absolutely nothing to do with. So I don't have family that I could turn to for help like this. You know, as she says, you know, she doesn't have any family and friends, but if she did, she would have obviously asked them, and her husband's an orphan. I only have my dad who lives abroad and can't transfer me money because I can't access it. And therein lies the problem. So then Barclays go on. Now remember, there is a big push to go cashless. Remember this. Customers using the app on Sunday morning were greeted with a message headed, "Thank you for bearing with us." It's Sunday morning this morning, by the way. The message said Barclays was working to correct the user's balance to ensure it shows all payments, and issue was taking longer than we'd like to fix. Yeah. They're clenching so tight that, you know, coal would turn to diamonds at this point. So, yeah, the company's status check website listed the Barclays and Barclaycard apps, online banking and services, cards, payments, transfers, branches and telephone banking as areas affected by the IT glitch. Okay, so this is what a spokesperson for Barclays has said. We're incredibly sorry for the ongoing technical issues that are impacting our customers' accounts. Some may see an outdated balance and payments made or received may not show. We're working hard to fix this issue, and customers should not try to make the payment again. Okay. The disruption started on Friday, on what was payday for many British workers and the deadline for self-assessment tax returns. The bank has apologised to those affected and promised no one will be left out of pocket. Okay. The outage is not believed to be related to a cyber attack. Okay. But Barclays' handling of complaints has provoked an angry reaction online. Customers have posted on X that they were unable to buy shopping for themselves and their young children, pay their bills or withdraw cash. But the bank insists its ATMs are unaffected. And yet up here, cards are affected. Cards are what are used to go in the ATM to get your cash out. Pretty sure. Yeah, well done. In a statement after the complaints online, Barclays said, "We are proactively contacting vulnerable customers to offer dedicated help and support. Their calls are being prioritised on our phone lines, meaning their calls get answered first." How would they know? They wouldn't know. I'm classed as vulnerable. I mean, I don't have an account with Barclays, I'll just say that, but my sister does. She's incredibly vulnerable. Does it, you know? How would they know? How would they know you're doing it? I mean, okay, so there's call. You can see who's calling, but they don't know that the people who all their customers are, and they don't know who's definitely vulnerable and who isn't. Our ATMs are unaffected by this technical issue, so customers can withdraw cash and use their cards to make payments. Really? But up here it says, company status check website listed the Barclays and Barclaycards apps, online banking and services, cards, payments and transfers, branches and phone banking as areas affected by the IT glitch. Cards. You know... Just what the hell? Some may continue to see an outdated balance, and payments made or received may not show. Customers should not try to do that. Make the payment again. We will ensure that no impacted customer is left out of pocket. We are keeping our call centres open for longer this weekend, and we will be proactively contacting customers who may be vulnerable. Yeah, okay. So here we go. On social media site X, in response to one user who said her household has no access to money, the Barclays UK help account asked, "Are there any friends or family who can offer support?" Well, no, not everyone has that. When she said she didn't, criticised the reply as so triggering, the bank's X account posted links to the Trussell Trust, a charity that runs food banks and citizens' advice, which can offer help for a range of problems. Yeah, okay. Like I said, Trussell Trust, you have to have a referral to Trussell Trust to use them. Some areas, like some offices or some food banks belonging to the Trussell Trust, have their own little in rules. The one that I used to work with, if people needed it for extended amounts of time because they were dealing with huge amounts of debt, we helped them. That we didn't care. Screw the referrals. It wasn't a problem. Okay, other cases, yes, there had to be a referral, but we made sure that everyone was fed and everyone had food. Okay, because that's the way we were. However, food bank usage at this point is huge already, and every food bank is under immense stress right now to feed the people that they already have on their books. This is going to add added pressure that they weren't expecting, and that could mean that people get left out. So that's a major issue. And like I said, Trussell Trust, their rules are that you are supposed to get a referral, and you can only go to them only 3 times a year. Now, I'm very aware that the one in Exeter runs that way, and is very staunchly strict on its rules, and you must have a referral, and you can only go there 3 times a year. So if you know that you're dealing with certain issues at certain times during the year, which you might have a surgery that's coming up, so you would be on holiday pay, so you're not going to be having as much pay as you normally would, so you may have to get help from the food bank, so you're trying to save up those 3 for when you are recovering from surgery or something. Or you may know that your contract's running out and it may be a certain amount of time before you get a job. You know, stuff like this. There is times when people know they may be in trouble. Yes, they can get ready for it, but they also may need the added help and assistance from a food bank. And if you're using this already because Barclays has made a screw up, that could put someone else at risk later on down the track. So that's all I'm saying. And not every food bank has citizens' advice. They do not. Not all of them have a licensed citizen advice person there. We didn't for a long time, and it was only because one of our guys who used to work for Citizens Advice redid his thing and made sure that he was able to do it. Otherwise, they don't come as normal. It's not normal. And they have to be a licensed Citizens Advice person. So, further afield, David Marsh and his new wife from Cumbria, a bit north from us, told Sky News they'd been locked out of their account while on honeymoon in Australia. Wow. See, that's the other thing. If you're stuck abroad and the banks have done this, what's the go, right? So we used to have these things called traveller's checks. I don't even know if they actually exist still. But you used to buy all your money on traveller's checks. So it didn't matter if you were going to 2 or 3 different countries. You could go to whatever country it was, cash the traveller's check, because it was, you know, whatever. They were usually like $50 or £50 or something like that. And you'd go and cash the traveller's check, and they would give you the equivalent amount of money in the money for that country. I don't know if they still exist, to be honest. I'm not sure. However, if I was traveling, I would always make sure that I had cash on me. Okay? Always make sure that you have cash on you. Local money, cash. That will make sure that you have enough money for at least a week. Always. So if you're going to Thailand or Vietnam or somewhere in Southeast Asia, that might be $200, because honestly, your hotel's paid for, right? Okay, but so all you need to do is eat and, you know, have a bit of a time and what have you. So the best thing you can do is go and eat where the locals eat, cheap as chips. You'd be hard pressed to spend $100 on one night's food. In fact, you'd be hard pressed to pay you $20 to feed your whole family, to be fair. And you'd have some of the best food there is. So yeah, and then you've got, so if you're traveling, always make sure you've got cash. And then this lady, Karen Bannister, who's 52 from Wakefield down the road, said she transferred all her money into Barclays account to pay her bills, but the funds never arrived. My card got declined at the supermarket, which was completely embarrassing. By 9 p.m, I was without heating because my gas had run out. My 4-month-old is out of milk powder. One mother said she was unable to buy milk for her baby due to the glitch. My 4-month-old is out of milk powder and screaming for a feed, and I still haven't been paid. She said on a post on X, I've been in tears for hours. Now, this is one of the issues that we have, is that people being reliant on milk powders and stuff like this, you always want to have an extra one. Always. I know it's hard because they are incredibly expensive, but always try to have at least one spare in the house at all times. Doesn't help right now, especially if you don't have that, but it's always a good idea just to get an extra one. If you've got a few extra pennies, just get a few extra ones. Okay. Another customer said, due to Barclays, I'm left without money. Had a food shop due for delivery this morning, which now will get cancelled. Leave my 4 kids with no food. It's a joke, as it is my money. How can I eat and keep warm if I can't get to my funds? See, this is what a lot of people in other countries don't understand, is that there is a huge proportion of the rental market in this country, and also social housing, which have pay-as-you-go electric and gas. So many people are used to pay-as-you-go phones, or burner phones, or whatever you want to call them, right? But this is how they work with the electric and gas over here for many people. And if you don't have money on that meter, you got no electric and gas. Simple. It's just the way it is. You have £5 of emergency in some cases. Not all cases, but it's there. We've just had to put all my shopping back in Tesco's. Never been so embarrassed in my life, as can't access my own money. HMRC is working closely with the bank. In a statement, HMRC said it is working closely with Barclays to minimise any impact on those submitting their self-assessments. An HMRC spokesperson said, our services are working as normal, so customers will still have been able to file their returns on time. Also, the issues will not result in late payment penalties, as they don't apply until 1st of March. That's if this is sorted out by the 1st of March. I mean, okay, yes, okay, it's the 2nd of February, but Yeah, so to those who are going through this right now, I can't imagine what you're going through. I mean, I can to a degree. I can imagine it. But I can also think of the fear that many of you are going through and the stress and the panic that this is bringing. But use it as a learning moment. I'm quite honestly, if anything, this proves more than anything that we cannot go cashless. Okay, we have major issues here. Major issues here where people can't buy food. They can't feed their babies. They're stuck in other countries. There's all sorts of stuff going on, different things for different people. Not everyone has access to another person that they can ask for help. You know, so this is really bad. Really bad. And the longer it goes on, the worse it's going to get. And you're going to have companies that are nagging for monies. You're going to have issues with people, you know, energy companies that might turn around and say, no, we're going to have to put on a prepayment meter. Prepayment means that you're paying more money than a normal person would with a bill. So it is hard, but I would do what you can. Contact the local citizens advice. They will have, if you don't know anybody else, contact local citizens advice. They will have access to pretty much any other food banks, especially ones that help with kids. If there may be a baby bank in your area that may be able to help as well, or even go to local warm banks and stuff, because they will be able to help you as well. So just hang in there and make sure that you're prepared for something like this to occur in the future, which means have some cash on hand. Don't just rely on your on you know, your cards and electronics and stuff, you know, because obviously it's not always going to work. So you need to have cash on hand. If you have got babies, try and have an extra can of food just in case. All right, just in case. You know, just buy that one extra and then circulate it so that you're only buying 4 or whatever for the month. Okay, so take it easy and make sure you're prepared for what happens, because stuff happens. And this isn't about being scared, and it's not about fear-mongering. It's about being prepared. It's about being organized. It's about making sure that these kinds of events don't disrupt your everyday life in general. You know, that's all it is. If there's things that you have to get on an everyday basis, then you make sure you have a bit of a stock of them in. It is hard to do that, I get that, but it does take a bit of work and you can do it. So hang in there, and I will see you again later on. Bye.